In the true spirit of the gift-giving season, I'm going to be going over the Canucks draft history for the past 10 years. 10 years, 11 draft classes. Let's go back in time and take a look, because Jim Benning, he's doing wonders for the Vancouver Canucks right now, and I think it would be a good opportunity to take a look at where we came from in terms of prospects, draft classes, and development. Because looking back into the Dave Nonis era of the Vancouver Canucks, it's kind of embarrassing, honestly. So, starting things off, all the way back in 2007, we're looking at Patrick White, drafted in the first round, 25th overall. And Patrick White, he was supposed to be a really hot American sniper kind of player who could, quote-unquote, do wonders with the puck. He had 9 points in 12 games for the Tri-City Storm of the USHL in his draft year, and in his draft plus 1 year with the University of Minnesota, he had 10 points in 45 games. He continued his college career just under a point per game, and he never cracked 20 points. So, he didn't really pan out. Vancouver Canucks fans will always treasure Patrick White as the player who never ended up playing any games, as the 2007 draft doesn't get any better. Taylor Ellington of the second round, 0 NHL games. Charles-Antoine Messier of the fifth round, 0 NHL games. Ilya Kablukov, who was drafted with the very next pick after Charles-Antoine Messier, never played an NHL game either. Nor did Taylor Matson or Dan Gender of the 6th and 7th rounds. The 2007 NHL entry draft for the Vancouver Canucks was truly a disaster, as we literally drafted nobodies, guys who never played in the NHL once. Patrick White was supposed to be a Brock Besser kind of like player, but he never panned out, and he's still playing all across Europe today. So, yeah. Moving over to the 2008 NHL entry draft, we see ourselves with a little bit of hope, as with the 10th overall pick, the Vancouver Canucks select Cody Hodgson, who, if you guys might know, actually did have sort of a career in the NHL. He only played 71 games for the Vancouver Canucks, and in those 71 games, he had himself 17 goals, he had himself 18 assists. That's pretty darn good. I mean, what? This guy was drafted 10th overall? This guy was supposed to be the next captain. This guy had the hype of a Bo Horvat, and he only played however many games he played for the Vancouver Canucks. He had 328 games played in the NHL. Okay, that's not bad. He had a 20-goal season with the Buffalo Sabres. He had a 44-point season with the Sabres. He finished off his career with 142 points in the NHL, which, that's not bad. But considering the fact that this guy was supposed to be the next Vancouver Canucks captain, and he got the majority of his points with Buffalo and Nashville, well, that leaves some room to be desired. Cody Hodgson nowadays can be seen, I believe he's coaching a whole bunch of Pee-wee kids, and he has his own clothing line. So, yeah, check out Coho Apparel. That's pretty good. Jan Swove, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, was taken in the second round in 2008. He played 8 NHL games. This guy probably won't see the NHL ice ever again, because he's been spending the majority of his career in the AHL, ECHL, and now he is in Europe. Finishing off the 2008 entry draft, Prob Rai was taken in the 5th round, 0 NHL games. Mats Jostin Forshog was taken in the 6th round, 0 NHL games. And Morgan Clark, a goaltender from the Red Deer Rebels in the 7th round, has seen 0 NHL games. It's safe to say that none of these guys will ever play in the NHL, ever. 2009, we saw a little bit more picks, as this was the last draft class where we had Dave Nonis as our general manager. Taking another player from the University of Minnesota's organization, we got ourselves Jordan Schrader. And Jordan Schrader, well, he was taken with the 22nd overall pick. He was supposed to be a nice young Brock Besser American-like player. And to be fair, he kind of did showcase a little bit more to be desired than Patrick White. 45 points in 35 games for the University of Minnesota in his draft year, and he continued to play some games in the NHL. I mean, he has a total of 153 games played, 40 points in the NHL, but with the Vancouver Canucks, he only has himself 56 games played, and he only had himself 15 points. So, yeah, after that, he found himself with the Minnesota organization, and now with the Columbus Blue Jackets organization. He played 9 games with Columbus this season, but now he's with the AHL yet again. This guy most likely should not have been drafted in the first round, as we can say about many draft picks the Canucks have had in the past 10 years. Next up, we got ourselves Anton Rodin, 53rd overall, second round. We all know what happened with Anton Rodin. He was supposed to be a success story, but he didn't. He's back in Switzerland now, I believe. So, yeah, he had a total of 3 games, 1 assist in the NHL. And he's injured again, too, so that Canucks injury bug is still bothering him, even though he's playing in Europe. I really hope he has a good career, because Anton Rodin, we just really didn't give him an opportunity. Kevin Connauton is the most successful player here on this list, as he was taken 83rd overall. He's played 220 games with 52 points as a defenseman, but not with Vancouver. He played the majority of his games spanning the careers of Columbus, Arizona, Dallas. He's playing with the Coyotes right now, and Kevin Connauton, he really wasn't anything for the Canucks. Because he played games with the Moose, he played games with the Wolves, and then right away, after he got himself 23, 33, 25-point seasons, he found himself in the Texas Stars organization with Dallas. So after teetering a little bit there, he found himself in the NHL, and he's been an NHL regular ever since. He hasn't really been too important, but you don't want to discredit anybody who's actually become an NHL regular, and that's what Kevin Connauton is. Moving over to the 2010 NHL entry draft. This is the first entry draft with Mike Gillis, and this one sucked. We didn't have any first, second, or third round picks in this one. Patrick McNally was the 4th round pick for the Vancouver Canucks, our first pick in the draft, and he ended up playing, guess what, 0 NHL games. Adam Polasic was taken in the 5th round, 0 NHL games. Alex Friesen in the 6th round, he got 1 NHL game played. And that was most likely because, well, it was a pity game. It was a show us what you can do game. It was a, you've been in our organization for too long, let's see you in the NHL kind of game. And this 5'10", 186-pound forward hasn't played in the NHL since 2015-16, and he only played 1 game, and he was a -2 in that game, so yikes. John Ilathi in the 6th round, 3 picks after Alex Friesen, has also played 0 NHL games. He is a goaltender. He's playing now in the SM Liga for the sport team. And Sonner Hane from the 7th round, Halifax Mooseheads draft class, he isn't playing in the NHL either. In fact, this whole draft class, the 2010 draft class, 1 NHL game. And that was Alex Friesen. So, yeah. We saw ourselves a bit more success after the Cup run. We had the 2011 NHL entry draft, and we got a lot of players. We got a lot of picks in this one. 29th overall, we saw ourselves taking Nicholas Jensen, who, at the time, was supposed to be a good player. He was projected to be a good middle six kind of guy, and he was supposed to be the next best player of the future, the first real player of our next future Canucks team, and he was supposed to be that. But he never really found his place, and I think any of you guys who watched the Canucks in the past, 5 years knows that the Canucks were trying to give this guy a chance, but he never really got a good one. I mean, in total, he played himself 24 NHL games with the Vancouver Canucks. He played 7 more games with the New York Rangers after that trade that sent Emerson Edom back to the Canucks and him over to New York. And now he's in the KHL. He's got 26 points in 39 games for the Helsinki Jokerit, and his NHL career, I don't even know, man. He got 6 points in 31 games in total. He's probably not going to come back. 3rd round, we saw ourselves take 2 players. David Honzik from the Victoriaville Tigers. He was a goaltender. He hasn't played in the NHL games. Alex Grenier from the Quebec Remparts, so 2 QMJHL players. He's seen 9 NHL games. And Grenier, to me, Grenier was supposed to be a player who we could say, yeah, no, he's a dark horse. He's going to come out of nowhere. He's going to be really good. But he never really panned out. He played 9 games for the Canucks, 0 points. And now he's in the Florida Panthers AHL system. So, yeah. Joe Labate has also played some NHL games, but those were also pity, like, show us what you can do in the NHL kind of games. You got injuries right now, so you can come up and play kind of games. He played himself 13 games, got himself 21 penalty minutes, so yeah, but 0 points. Ludwig Blomstrand in the 4th round, as well as Labate. I was excited for Blomstrand, honestly. I wanted Blomstrand to become a good player, but no, he wasn't really a good player. He got a lot of points in the ECHL, but the ECHL, it's the step down from the AHL, so you can't really expect a whole bunch of success stories coming out of there. Not everybody can be an Alex Burrows. In the 5th round, we took ourselves Frank Corrado, I mean, there was a lot of hype around Corrado. He got a lot of opportunities up and down in the OHL, and the NHL, and the AHL, but he never really panned out for the Canucks, and he was given sort of a chance with the Maple Leafs. 39 games in one season, 2 games in another season, and then with the Pittsburgh Penguins, he hasn't really been given a chance either, and now he's back in the AHL. I really think that Corrado could have been a borderline top 6 defenseman. It's just that he wasn't really given any opportunities at all. Patrick Westerholm was next in the 6th round for the Canucks, 0 NHL games played, and Henrik Tomerne from the 7th round. I thought that this guy was going to be good too, but he wasn't. 0 NHL games played. He's now playing in the Swiss League. So, yeah, I mean, he has 15 points in 30 games as a defenseman. That's all right. Low-key, this draft wasn't as bad as the other ones, but it still wasn't really that good either. We got Nicholas Jensen with 31 NHL games, Grenier and Labate with a combined 22 NHL games, and Corrado with 74 games. So, we're getting a little bit better, right? Moving on to 2012, this is another short draft. We only have 5 players here. Brendan Gaunce was taken in the 1st round. He's playing in the NHL now. He only has 2 goals, but I mean, he does everything else right, sort of. I mean, it's not like he sucks or anything, right? Alright, so Brendan Gaunce, he's playing in the NHL right now. 98 games played, that's okay, but Gaunce, I really feel like he should have been a better player. Not saying that he's bad, just saying that his potential says that he should have been better. Alex Mallet, playing for the Rimouski Oceanic back then, taken in the 2nd round. He was supposed to be good too, but he has 0 NHL games, and he's now playing in the Czech leagues as well. The only really good player that came out of this whole series so far, out of these 2007 up until now 2012 players, is Ben Hutton. Ben Hutton was drafted in the 5th round, 147th overall, from the CCHL, and he has been an NHL regular up until now, where he's been scratched a few games. But in his first NHL season, 75 games, 25 points, 71 games and 19 points for his 2nd NHL season, and he's now a healthy scratch, sort of, and he's teetering between in the lineup, out of the lineup right now in his 3rd season for the Canucks. So, say what you want about Ben Hutton, but you can't deny that he has been the most successful Vancouver Canucks prospect from 2007 up until 2012. So, yeah. The next 2 guys, Wesley Moran in the 6th round and Matthew Beattie in the 7th round, 0 NHL games played. So, yeah, I think we've seen a pattern here. Next up, the 2013 NHL entry draft. This was important because this was supposed to be the draft where we got our next team. This was the draft where we drafted the next wave of great Vancouver Canucks players, and for the most part, we got one of them, Bo Horvat, 9th overall, from the Corey Schneider trade. Bo Horvat, with 259 NHL games played, 137 points in those games, and he's the next captain, basically. You can't argue with that. Bo Horvat was a fantastic pickup for the Vancouver Canucks. Next up was Hunter Shinkaruk, who everybody thought was going to be an elite sniper, but he is back down there with the AHL team for the Calgary Flames after only playing 1 game in a Canucks uniform and 14 games in the Calgary Flames uniform. He had like 2 goals in his first game for the Flames, and everyone was like, ooh, Vancouver, ooh, you gave up on this kid too quickly. This is what happens when you give up on Hunter Shinkaruk. Look at him, he's getting 2 goals per game, but now he's back down in the AHL, so Hunter Shinkaruk, yeah, he's not really an NHLer at the moment. Cole Castles was taken in the third round, and for the most part, he was supposed to be really good. He shut down McDavid in the OHL finals, and he had a lot of trouble transitioning into the AHL game. But really, he's becoming a little bit better. I mean, he's been put into a better role with the Comets. I have no idea if I see an NHL future with him. If he does have an NHL future, it'll most likely be in a bottom 6 penalty-killing role, so I hope for the best for him. Jordan Subban of the Belleville Bulls, 0 NHL games played as well. Of course, we all know what happened to him. He's over in LA now. Anton Cederholm, Mike Williamson, and Miles Liberati, D in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds. All of these guys have played 0 NHL games as well. So, our last 4 picks of that draft class, all defensemen, no NHL games at this point in time, and these guys, man, they're not really getting it done. The Vancouver Canucks scouting team isn't really getting it done up until 2013, which is what we're on right now. It's been however many years, it's been 6 years, and we still have only gotten 2 NHL players for the Canucks. Moving on to 2014 now. This one was a better draft in terms of the players we just got. We all know we got 6th overall Jake Virtanen, and he has 98 games played in the NHL, 23 points. He played 1 season with Willie Desjardins alongside fellow draft member in that round, Jared McCann. But overall, that season, it really wasn't. It was just a transition kind of season. It wasn't really that good for either of these two players. But Jake Virtanen, right now, he deserves to be on the Canucks, and I love watching this kid. He's so fast, and he has so much grit and determination in his game. It's just that he needs to take the puck to the net more. That's all I ask of Jake Virtanen. Taking a look at the next drafted pick in that round, Jared McCann, won 123 games played, 34 points. So he's got more points than Jake Virtanen, and he's finally found himself an NHL career. I mean, he played a season with the Florida Panthers, he spent a lot of games with the Springfield Thunderbirds, but now he's coming back from injury, I believe, and now he's basically a Florida Panthers middle 6, bottom 6 regular. So, Jared McCann, good on you, buddy. Next up, we have ourselves Thatcher Demko, who, he's played 0 NHL games, but you can't fault him because he's playing in the AHL and he's doing spectacularly well. And I can't wait to see Thatcher Demko step into the Vancouver Canucks locker room as early as this season, because Jacob Markstrom and Anders Nielsen, I don't know if they're getting the job done. The next 2 picks in this draft are both very salty in my opinion. Nikita Tramkin in the 3rd round and Gustav Forsling in the 5th round, both of which have played 70-plus NHL games. Tramkin played them with us, but he's now in the KHL. He might come back, who knows, I don't know. And Gustav Forsling, I was pissed off when we traded this guy to Chicago for Adam Clendening because I knew Forsling was going to be a good player. And he's an NHL regular. He's played almost every game this season for the Blackhawks. And he's got 12 points in 32 games as a defenseman, a 21-year-old defenseman. And we took this guy in the 5th round and we traded him away for Adam Clendening? Are you serious? I was pissed off when we traded him originally, but I was hoping, okay, maybe he won't become such a good player that I think he's going to be. No, he played 38 games last season, too. Man, Gustav Forsling, he was a player that I wanted to have on the team. Looking at the rest of the picks from the 2014 draft, Kyle Pettit and Mackenzie Stewart, each with 0 NHL games. Kyle Pettit has gone back to university. So, yeah, he's playing for the University of Western Ontario right now. So, that's pretty good. Mackenzie Stewart, on the other hand, he's still in our system. He's playing in the ECHL team for the Utica Comets, and he's got himself 4 points in 13 games as a defenseman. So, I don't know. Looking at the 2015 draft, Brock Besser was taken with the 1st round pick. 43 games, 39 points, 24 goals. Brock Besser is the savior of the franchise, and he is looking to be very, very good in his career. 3rd round pick was Guillaume Brisebois, and he hasn't played an NHL game yet. I mean, you can't really expect a lot of these guys to be because it's 2015. You can't really expect them. It's only 2 years ago. Brisebois looks like he might be a good player. I mean, he's playing in the AHL right now. He was the captain of the Acadie Bathurst Titan, and I hope he has a good NHL career. Same thing with Zukhanov, Carl Neal, Adam Gaudette, who I really hope Adam Gaudette signs with us. I really think he might, however, because he's got it plastered everywhere on social media. Vancouver Canucks prospect, and I know he's friends with Brock, so he might want to play here. Lucas Hasek and Tate Olson, Also, two guys who haven't played in the NHL yet. Tate Olson, I don't know what's going on with him. He's still in the WHL. Still in the WHL, 9 points in 23 games as a defenseman. And Lucas Hasek. I mean, Hasek he was supposed to be really good, but he's finally found himself into the Czech leagues. He's got himself 9 points in 30 games right now, and I hope he has a good career. He's only 20 years old. Same thing with the 16 draft. Oli Olivi, William Lockwood, Cole Candela, Jacob Stukel, Rodrigo Abols, and Brett McKenzie. Each of these guys are either 19 or 20 years old. They still got futures ahead of them. Olivi and Lockwood look like certain locks for being NHL players sometime down the line. The rest, I'm not too sure, but we can only hope for the best. And then in the 2017 NHL entry draft for the Vancouver Canucks, we got ourselves like 8 draft picks, which is awesome. And all these guys are 18, 19 years old. Elias Pettersson, Cole Lind, Gadjevich, DiPietro. We all know about the big top 4 coming out of this draft class and how excited everybody is for all of these players. Taking a look at the bottom 4, though, Jack Rathbone, he's got a good shot. Christopher Gunnarsson, nobody really talks about him, but he's playing for the Frölunda Hockey Club over there in Sweden. Then we got Petrus Palmu, who was Gadjevich's line mate. Palmu was actually tearing it up alongside Oli Olivi with the TPS Turku. 17 points in 33 games for this 5'7", 172-pound winger. Who cares if he's small? He's getting points. That's awesome. I love having prospects in our system who can get points. That's cool. And Matt Brassard. He was the last pick. He's a defenseman. He's got 19 points in 34 games for the Oshawa Generals right now. Who knows what any of these guys are going to become to, but for now, looking at the draft class and looking at the guys who haven't really played in the NHL yet because they're kind of young, I see definite NHL players in Elias Pettersson, Gadjevich, Olivi, and maybe even Brisebois. I have no idea about Brisebois. He might become a Jordan Subban, I'm not too sure, but I'll put him in that maybe section. And then, most likely to be NHL players, I can see Cole Lind, DiPietro, William Lockwood, and Adam Gaudette, too. So, taking a look at, like, the past 3 years of drafting, 2017, 16, and 15, we got some good players. And we got some players who I believe can really make an impact on the Canucks in the future. But going back 10 years, all the way back to 2007, 0 NHL games. 2008, Cody Hodgson, he's gone. And then Jan Suave, 8 games. Nope. Jordan Schrader, Rodin, and Connaughton for the next draft class. None of these guys are on the Canucks. 2010, 1 game played. 2011, well, none of these guys are actual, like, established NHL players. 2012, we got ourselves Gauntz and Hutton. Those are the only 2 players out of the 5. 2013, Bo Horvat. Yes. 2014, Virtanen and Demko and Trampkin. Yes. 2015, Brock Besser. Yes. 2016 and 17, we got nobody yet. But that was a look at the past 10 years of Vancouver Canucks draft picks. This has been a long video. What the hell? It's 23 minutes. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys out here now. Happy holidays, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Plus, industrial trolls like Last House and Gaming. And bye.